Hello, this is Sean Canfield, advisor of the University High School Academic Decathlon team. This video is the second of a series that focuses on the success of the UHS Academic Decathlon team in capturing what I refer to as the Trifecta: the Fresno County Championship, Small School State Championship, and the Virtual National Small School Championship. As of this production, UHS has accomplished this feat 5 times: 2010, 2012, 2013, 2015, and 2016. Perhaps the greatest challenge any competitive team faces is not so much in winning a championship, but remaining as champions. Competition in all venues is replete with great teams that were great for 1 year, then quickly slipped to mediocrity and are now but distant memories. Great teams come and go, many nothing more than one-year wonders. Great programs and dynasties endure. They endure not for many reasons, but because of a very few simple principles: team, work ethic, and desire to win. Fortunately for us, 2010 proved to be no fluke, and after a year of transition in which the 2011 team won 2/3 of this trifecta, the foundation was laid for the beginnings of a dynasty, the 2012 UHS Academic Decathlon team. Our first trifecta team in 2010 was a culmination of 7 years of close finishes in the county competition. As impressive as the previous teams had been, the 2010 team really raised the bar. Consider the following accomplishments. The accomplishments of this great team were due in part to it being a very experienced team. The 2011 team was a classic case of a rebuilding year with 2/3 of the students first-time participants. And while the team was still quite powerful, it fell a bit short in winning the Fresno County competition. Its accomplishments, however, were still quite impressive and deserve mention. Although it was disappointing not repeating as county champions, the nucleus for a very strong 2012 team was nearly set. We certainly had a good team, but as usual, so did our arch rivals Edison. We had beaten them in the annual November scrimmage in Reedley, but then a month later they beat us in our own mini scrimmage. This was sobering, and in the end probably a good thing, for it made every team member realize that if they did not all work hard, then we would probably finish second once again to Edison. During the actual competition, we realized how difficult it was going to be. The Super Quiz was a cliffhanger, with no clear indication of who had won it. Fortunately, the team had really come together, developing great team chemistry. Throughout the day, the students felt very good about the test. In addition, a certain call I had received days prior to the competition made me cautiously optimistic, for I was given the great news that Scholastic Ethan Peterson had one of the top 3 speeches in the county. The subjective portion of the competition, speech, interview, and essay, is held the last Saturday in January, 1 week before the objective test and super quiz. Throughout the years, UHS has had a number of students who have finished with the top 3 speeches. Traditionally, the top 3 speeches are given by the speaker during the awards ceremony. Sadly, we do not have video of these speeches prior to 2012, but at least we have pictures and their scores. Fortunately for 2012, we do have video of this great speech. I now present for your enjoyment Ethan Peterson's award-winning speech.
I'd like to apologize in advance. My voice is a little rough and doing a bit too much shouting. Anyway. This nation's education system is in a very sorry state. Crippling legislation and partisan bickering are keeping teachers from doing their jobs, encouraging cut-and-dry memorization as opposed to more engaged forms of learning, and disillusioning children starting at a very young age. The root of all these evils is the gargantuan emphasis placed upon standardized testing. Standardized tests in this nation are comparable to an old horror movie monster, something initially benign that is mutated to the point of nearly swallowing our schools whole. It seems today that everyone, everywhere, from schools to government agencies, can look at standardized test scores to determine anything about everything. Many colleges use SAT scores as a sort of magic number to gauge the intelligence of their applicants. And many state and federal governments allocate funding based upon test scores. All these practices do, however, is broaden the gap between rich and poor and stomp on the futures of countless students that are extremely bright. Studies by the Journal of Educational Psychology have shown that standardized tests encourage and reward superficial learning, which is rote memorization and guessing on or skipping what one does not know, as opposed to active learning, where students make connections with things they already know and ask themselves questions about what they may or may not know. This is inherently unfair, as a deep-thinking and very intelligent student could perform quite poorly on a test like the SAT and have their chances of getting into a good college or university obliterated. And with the stakes so high, performing well on standardized tests is required nowadays. Unfortunately, supplemental preparation materials are quite expensive, which means only more affluent families and schools with more affluent demographics can afford to supply their students with them. This creates a vicious cycle, since many state governments allocate funding based upon test scores, and only the more affluent families can afford to supply their students with the materials to help them perform better. Richer schools may be given more funding. Now, a particularly disturbing practice is the fitting of these standards and the tests that go with them to children of increasingly younger ages. At ages like 7 and 8, children are at their most malleable, and they are becoming disillusioned with learning and with school because they're being subjected to testing more and more. I mean, can you really imagine an 8-year-old boy eagerly sitting at a desk filling in bubbles on a poorly written and boring test, saying to himself, "Gee, this sure is laying a solid foundation for my future in academics." I can't either. Finally, this adherence to standards is forcing teachers in disadvantaged areas to teach to the test in order to gain some additional funding for their schools. Studies have shown that students in disadvantaged areas tend to put less emphasis on education, and doing nothing but test prep worksheets and memorizing concept after concept is definitely not helping. Teachers are ideally supposed to engage their students, give them the information they need in a way that they will respond to and enjoy. All this fixation on testing does is keep them from doing their jobs. Standardized tests were fine when they were simply used to rank student performance, when their inherent bias didn't matter. Now they have grown into a great beast, determining the futures of students with their scores. This practice must be reformed, lest we lose sight of what the true goals of education are: to engage students, to make them think, not to master the art of darkening ovals on an answer sheet. Thank you.
Easy to see why he won. As the ceremony continued, the results kept getting better, with UHS students receiving plenty of medals. There are many exciting moments during the awards ceremony. One of the most exciting is the recognition of the highest individual scores. The top 10 varsity, scholastic, and honor scores are recognized, culminating with the Dean's Award for the top 3 individual scores regardless of division. It is something like a countdown in which you do not want to see or hear your name as long as possible. Eventually, 6 of our 9 students have been summoned, and with only the Dean's Medal left, it was pretty obvious that the 3 were going to be university's own Tiffany Gao, Joseph Matsushita, and Timothy Anderson. Tiffany was called first with an impressive score of 8,599 points. She was then followed by Joseph with an even more impressive score of 8,634 points. With Tim the only one left, we knew he had obviously accomplished what had only been done by 2 other students in Fresno County academic decathlon history: repeat as the top individual scorer. The big question: would he break 9,000 points? The score is always read first, and what followed was bedlam. For when the MC began with a score of 9,000, the audience went wild. Poor Tim did not actually hear what his total score was, and had to sheepishly ask for his full score, 9,083 points, while on the stage. Nevertheless, it was quite an accomplishment for UHS to have the top 3 individual scores, a feat accomplished only one other time in the history of the Fresno County competition. The final portion of the awards ceremony consists of the various team awards, starting with the Super Quiz. The top 5 teams are recognized, and we knew it was going to be very close between Edison and UHS. We had finished ahead of them in the relay portion of the competition, but of course we did not know how well they had done in the written portion. Edison had won the Super Quiz for the past 2 years, even beating us 2 years earlier when we had won the overall competition. In many ways, the most exciting part of the countdown is to hear who is second. And once we heard Edison, and had not yet heard University, I think the pictures accurately chronicle our emotions.
The first place team with an amazing overall score of 4,695, University High School.
Good job.
It is these moments that make all the studying worthwhile. All that remained was the overall county championship. Keeping track of individual medals won, Edison had taken 34 medals, while UHS had amassed 52. So while cautiously optimistic, there is still always a little doubt, for so many times before we had come up a bit short. Just like the Super Quiz, when we heard second place, followed by Edison, the feelings of joy and excitement were literally indescribable. I think for this situation, the pictures sum it all up.
Will be representing Fresno County in the state academic decathlon competition next month in Sacramento, will receive the Superintendent Sweepstakes Award, their first place division trophy, the first place overall team trophy, and the perpetual sweepstakes trophy, along with team ribbons and a $1,000 cash prize to help defray the cost of traveling to Sacramento, in addition to a $500 savings bond for the winning coach. The winning team with a score of 46,304 points, University High School.
Welcome back to Live at 4. Students across Fresno County battled it out in a competition of the cranium this weekend at the annual academic decathlon.
And as Action News education reporter Linda Muma shows us, one school not only stripped its biggest competition of last year's crown, it also surpassed its own gold.
It's really a life-changing experience.
Sporting their medals like a group of proud Olympic athletes, student scholars with the University High School academic decathlon team boasted this weekend's win was well-deserved.
We don't have football, we don't really have sports here, so academic decathlon is the one thing, the biggest event that everyone goes to, so everyone from the school is cheering us on.
On Saturday, the team of 9 competitors took home 57 medals, the most of any other school in the county competition.
The correct answer is B. B.
It also won the Super Quiz portion of the contest, which is a mix of a written test and answering questions in front of an audience. And the team had the top 3 scorers of the tournament, one earning more than 9,000 points, the highest score ever in the competition's history.
I set that goal last summer and had to work really hard. That's how I kept motivated, was just looking at that goal. And I guess it worked out.
But students say the best part of the match was taking back the title from Edison High after ending the school's 13-year winning streak 2 years ago.
That's part of what helped us win, is that we work really well together as a team.
Want to know what it takes to win an academic decathlon? This binder is full of all of the information the students must learn going into the competition. Once it arrives in May, the team hits the books.
You think to your finals in college when you're staying up for night after night, and then take that over a couple of weeks and then months, and that's what it is.
Lots of reading. Over the summer, you spend upwards of 75 hours going over the material.
And the team isn't finished just yet. After a short 1-week break, the party's over and it's back to the books, studying this time for the state championship next month in Sacramento.
In the state competition, UHS continued its winning ways. It is very common for a school score to decline between the county and state competitions. This did not happen with UHS, where the team increased its overall score by an impressive 800 points, finishing 6th overall. The team set a new school record for medals won, 19. Joseph Matsushita was the second highest scoring scholastic in the state, and Tim Anderson pulled in the second highest individual score in the state, raising his already impressive county score with an even higher total of 9,141 points. Finally, the team won its sixth straight small school state championship. The virtual national competition was the final piece to the Trifecta, and it resulted in another triumph for University High. Against tougher competition than the previous year, UHS took home 39 individual medals. Samuel Barreto was the top-scoring varsity. Ethan Peterson placed as the third top scholastic, and for the second year in a row, Joseph Matsushita was the top-scoring scholastic. Finally, Tim Anderson not only finished as the top honors, but scored over 7,000 points in the 8 events of the virtual nationals. In other words, he was again at a 9,000-point pace, a personal trifecta of his own, symbolic of the team's success. Although it is possible to list dozens of reasons why a particular team enjoys success, the factors that made the 2012 UHS Academic Decathlon team the second one to score the trifecta can be broken into a few important facts and principles. First off, the UHS student body and community have been fantastic supporters. Having such enthusiasm from a school gives special incentive for the students to work hard. On the topic of work, when a group of students are willing to make that extra effort to win, there is little they cannot accomplish. When it is too tough for our competition, it is just right for us. Finally, team chemistry. When a team is willing to work and sacrifice for each other, the result is not only victory, but the culmination of an experience that will last for a lifetime. A lifetime of success from a job